Hello, this is Brian. Today is Friday, October 20th, 2023, and I'm along Water Canyon Road near Tehachapi Mountain Park. Now, this might look familiar to some people who've maybe watched some of my videos from summer 2021, where I did a couple spotlight videos on some of the oaks in the area, like the Oregon White Oak, Brewer Oak, and the Valley Oak. So now, what I want to do today in this video is showcase all the different types of oaks found over here. So we have several types of oaks here. This is an area of very high oak diversity. We have oaks from 3 different lineages growing here. We have white oaks, we have a red oak, and we have a golden oak, because oaks have their own lineages. Now, there are more than just those 3, but here in California, we're in Kern County at the foot of the Tehachapi Mountains, we have here in California 3 different lineages of oaks, native oaks. I'm talking about natives, not the planted ones, but the native oaks. So, we're going to talk about some of the oaks today, and first off, we have our golden oak of the area, and this is canyon live oak, Quercus chrysolepis. And this one's kind of a small, kind of stunted thicket, but further down the road, some much larger ones live in a canyon underneath us. So that's our golden oak for this area. We do have other species of golden oaks here in California, such as the Palmer oak, Quercus palmeri, the island live oak, Quercus tomentella, Quercus vaccinifolia, the huckleberry oak, which grows in the high Sierras, well north of here, and the Cedros Island oak, Quercus cedrosensis, is another type of golden oak, and that's the protobalanus. Now, so let's move on. After I get a couple pictures of this canyon live oak, I'll move on to the next stage. We're going to start talking about we're going to be talking about the one species of red oak that's in this general vicinity. It's actually maybe more than one species, but in this general vicinity, I'm only seeing the one. So let's go look at the canyon live oak first. Got a picture of this. So as you can see, canyon live oak has the medium gray furrowed bark, which is pretty common in a lot of oaks. And then the acorns are much larger on the canyon live oak. They have really fat acorn cups and really fat, juicy acorns, especially on larger, more vigorous trees. This one doesn't seem to have any. But now I want to move on to one of the red oaks of our area. See, here we have California black oak right here. This is Quercus kellogii, one of a few red oaks that are native here to California, and the only one I see in the immediate vicinity. And these are the ones that are changing color. See, canyon live oak stays green all year. It's an evergreen. It does not shed its leaves in fall. It stays green. California black oak is winter deciduous, as you can tell by this beautiful fall color that we have going on here. Beautiful fall color. And then we also have, probably in the area, I would assume, shrubby interior live oak, Quercus wilsonii, variety for tessins. That should be another species here. The California black oak, as you see here, has lobed leaves, pretty stereotypical of the oaks. As you can see here, the edge of the lobes, pointy. The edges are pointy and bristle-tipped. So for a lot of the lobe-leafed oaks, like the red oaks, Quercus kellogii, the edge of the lobe has a little bristle on it and it's sharp-tipped. So the interior live oak, Quercus wilsonii, is another evergreen oak, and it has either smooth-edged or sometimes tooth-edged leaves, and it's not in this general vicinity. So unfortunately, I don't have that to show you. But now, let's move on to the white oaks. And we have a few different type of white oaks here. A few different types, and two species that are distinct enough to tell apart, and then two varieties of another species here. See, what we have here is we're going to start off with the blue oak, Quercus douglasii, which is pretty common and pretty well known in this area, especially lots of grasslands, open woodlands. And yeah, this is Quercus douglasii right here, the blue oak, and it has lightish gray, mildly furrowed bark, lightly furrowed. Leaves are sometimes just rounded, sometimes they have small lobes on them. Here's an example up close of some of the foliage of the Quercus douglasii. You see, leaves are quite variable in shape. Some are just rounded, kind of similar to Engelmann oak, which is a white oak native to farther southern California, Riverside, San Diego, LA counties, northern Baja. So it's kind of similar to that same bluish gray-green cast. However, some blue oaks have some slight lobation in their leaves as well. So this is one of our section Quercus, the white oaks. And the leaves are quite small on the blue oak. So now what I want to do is move on to yet another species of oak after I take a picture or two of our beautiful blue oaks that like to grow in these wide open savannas. Don't mind the sound of my wrinkly bag, but and we got another lovely blue oak here with that beautiful light bark. Beautiful tree. A little more humble in size than some of our other oaks. Again, it's a white oak, section Quercus. In the section Quercus. And then let's move our attention to another type of white oak we have here called the valley oak, Quercus lobata. The Quercus lobata has much more deeply lobed leaves and often a much larger stature. Some of the valley oaks in here attest. Some of these can get quite large. This is actually one of the largest species of oak in the entire world, as far as I can tell. And what we have here are much more deeply lobed leaves, and that this is a white oak, like the blue oak. You'll notice the lobes of the leaves don't have a bristle tip on them. They're rounded. That's quite a characteristic of our white oaks. And then the valley oak bark is kind of blocked and plated, similar color to the blue oak, only more deeply furrowed, and obviously much larger trunks. And since this is October, we're starting to get a little bit of fall color showing up on the valley oaks as well. Blue oaks will probably be the latest ones here to shed their foliage. Now it's time to talk about yet another type of white oak that's growing here. And that, fellows, is the Oregon white oak, Quercus garryana. What we have here is an Oregon white oak tree right here. I know I always seem to come over here when it's getting dark out. So what we have is this right here. Actually, I think I'm looking at a blue oak here. This appears to be a blue oak. No, this is definitely an Oregon white oak. Larger leaves, but not very large leaves. This is Quercus garryana variety garryana, Oregon white oak. And we have another variety of Quercus garryana, and that is this one here, Quercus garryana variety brewery, the brewer oak, which is the shrubby version of the Oregon white oak. So we got both varieties of Quercus garryana. We've got two varieties of Quercus garryana growing here. So you can kind of see the bark has a little more of a flaky texture to it. Much more characteristic of Quercus garryana. It has furrowing like the valley oak and the blue oak, but tends to be a little bit more of a flakiness towards the lower part of the trunk. And here are the leaves. Again, this is a white oak. The lobes are rounded. They're not all bristle-tipped like our California black oak. So this is the shrub version. Quercus garryana variety brewery, the brewer oak. And again, here's the tree, Quercus garryana variety garryana, which has very flaky bark as well, and very similar leaves. So the leaves are pretty much the same, just like on brewer oak. The Oregon white oak, Quercus garryana variety garryana, tends to have a narrower profile, not nearly as deeply lobed as the valley oak, but more deeply lobed than a lot of the foliage on the valley oak. So you can see here, we got quite a variety of oaks growing here. As I said, if I go up on the, if I go find the chaparral, I'll probably find interior live oak up there as well. And it could be either variety, Quercus wiesleseni variety frutescens or Quercus wiesleseni variety wiesleseni, which is the tree version. But you can see here, the valley oaks are starting to change color. The black oaks, as you saw earlier, are well into their color change. So I'm going to go over and get a couple pictures before it gets too dark. And these smaller trees here are pretty much all blue oaks, Quercus douglasii. So, as you notice, the brewer and Oregon white oaks are still predominantly green, as are the blue oaks. So what kind of fall color can we expect on Oregon white oak, both the tree and the brewer oak variety? Well, I've seen often a buttery golden yellow, and you can find that near Tehachapi Mountain. And then sometimes we'll get orange and russet red. Valley oaks tend to be more of a yellowish brown, and these are predominantly valley oaks here. You can see my spotlight video more specifically about the valley oak, but I'm going to find another tree Oregon white oak. Here's a small canyon live oak right here. But let me move on over to here. And here's another Oregon white oak. This is again Quercus garryana variety garryana. Again, you can kind of see the flaky texture of the bark. Kind of has a flaky texture, kind of flakes off like the brewer oak, which is its shrub variety. Pretty amazing. I'm going to see someone. I'm going to go walk down here and look at where some of the larger valley oaks are, so I can at least get a little footage of some of those big bad mamma jammas. Again, here we go. Quercus lobata, valley oak, typically more deeply lobed. Then Quercus garryana, variety brewery or variety garryana, much larger size. Probably the Again, probably the largest species of oak, or at least one of the largest species of oak in California and in the world. Very beautiful trees. And we got this little riparian forest down here. It's more of a woodland because it's quite open spaced. You see some of these trees get quite large in this area, but even much larger than that. So I'm going to wrap up this video by showcasing some of the largest ones in the general vicinity.
I think you could tame them. I think you can.
Sometimes they can be kind of tame. Sometimes they'll come right up to you. So we're gonna come up to some larger valley oaks here. I think this is the one I did the spotlight video on in 2021. And they can get much larger than this too. Much larger than this. Yep, they can get even much larger than this. Well, I think that's going to do it for my video. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this video helpful in identifying some of our local oaks here in the Tehachapi Mountains. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.